Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing Dune Part 2. Paul Atreides unites with Chani and the Fremen while seeking revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. This movie is directed by Denis Villeneuve. Yeah, so I'm not going to keep you guys in suspense. This movie's amazing. I really enjoyed the first Dune movie. I thought it was great, and I thought it was setting up something even bigger and better in the future, and that's exactly what Dune Part 2 is. It is bigger and better than the first movie. I mean, this movie's already gotten Empire Strikes Back comparisons in terms of being a sequel that's better than the original, because Dune 2 and Empire both take the great lore and story that were in the first films and just expand on it in deep and meaningful ways that also tell their own stories that have fully satisfying endings, but while also leaving a lot of stuff on the table for the next chapter. They're both perfect sequels. Denis Villeneuve has been one of my favorite directors for a while now. Prisoners and Sicario are two of my favorite movies of all time. So with his previous track record of films, and now after this movie, I think it's pretty safe to say that he solidified himself as one of the GOATs. What he achieved with this film is truly something special. I have no doubt in my mind that Dune 2 will go down as one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. I feel like he found a perfect balance with the pacing of this movie. Like Part 1, this movie's almost 3 hours long, and it's got a lot going on, which could be very overwhelming for a lot of people. But I wasn't even remotely bored for a second while watching this movie. I was super invested in the story and the characters. And the movie does juggle a lot of characters and storylines, but every time I said to myself, you know, it's been a while since we've seen these characters or whatever, the movie would like immediately cut to the stuff that I wanted to see, like it was reading my mind or something. The first Dune got better for me after a rewatch, and I feel like this movie is going to be the same thing, just so you can kind of like process everything a little bit more and just realize some like the finer details. And even though this movie is dense, I do think it is a lot more fun than the first movie. Part 2 definitely has a lot more action, and I think that helps the pacing of the movie out a lot, because even though Part 2 is longer than Part 1, Part 2 feels shorter when you're actually watching the movie, just because it's paced a little better. The action is intense, and then there's just some insanely epic moments that just blew me away. I definitely whispered wow to myself a few times and was just sitting there shaking my head in awe at the shit I was watching on the screen. I also connected with the characters a lot more this time around, which is just going to bring me to all the amazing performances from this stacked ass cast. And first things first, Timothee Chalamet. Wow. I thought he was pretty good in Part 1, you know, nothing crazy, but he's fucking phenomenal in this movie. Definitely the best performance that I've seen from him so far, and I really loved where Paul's character and story went in this movie. But seriously, I think this is like an all-time performance. Like, he is unreal in this movie. Besides Paul, I would say that Stilgar, played by Javier Bardem, is probably my favorite character in the movie. Javier is great in everything he's in, but he's just a scene stealer in this movie, and he has a lot of great levity that was just, I think, very needed for this movie at times. Austin Butler isn't in the movie as much as I thought he would be, but he does an amazing job with what he's got. He has a very strong, creepy, menacing presence whenever he's on screen, and I loved it. Rebecca Ferguson is also great again. Her character had a lot of crazy stuff going on this time around, and it was just really fascinating to watch. We actually got to see Zendaya this time around. It wasn't just like LSD dream sequences. We actually got to see her character, and as always, Zendaya's great. It was really cool to see her play like a badass warrior. I dug it. I always love seeing my boy Josh Brolin, and Stellan Skarsgard does a great job at being the gross ass fucking Baron. The only performance I didn't like was Christopher Walken as the Emperor. The movie is insanely immersive, but he would kind of take me out because the only character he's playing is Christopher Walken in a robe saying weird ass sci-fi words. Paul, Atreides, on Arrakis, Spice. I kind of wish they casted someone else in that role, to be honest. It doesn't ruin the movie for me or anything, don't get me wrong. It's just he did kind of stand out to me in a not so good way. All I'm going to say is he's not going to be taking home any Bravo awards this year. The movie also looks absolutely stunning with some amazing cinematography from Greg Fraser, who's one of the best in the business. And I genuinely don't think there was a single shot in this movie where I sat there and said, wow, that was shitty CGI or that was a bad VFX or anything. Like, it all looks 100% real. Like, it looks so amazing, and ultimately that's what makes the movie so immersive, is the great performances, and then just the world building and just everything just works so well together. Also, like, all of the costumes in this movie look fucking dope as hell. Like, they just look great. They're so cool. All the armor and stuff looks so badass. I also love how like every location looks so unique from one another. It's really cool. And as always, Hans Zimmer delivers one hell of a score that adds so much to the film. The dude's a legend, and I think his music for Dune is some of the best work he's ever done in his entire career. And I honestly don't have a single flaw with this movie. The only thing I can think of that's really just a nitpick, it's not even a flaw, is that I think the movie could have either used a little bit more blood or an R rating. Because some of the violence is pretty intense. Like there's a lot of throat slicing and shit, and there's really like no blood. So that kind of just like takes me out of it a little bit when movies do that. But I'm also just a blood hungry heathen. So fucking, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Overall, Denis delivered a masterpiece with Dune 2. It's a perfect sequel with great performances, stunning visuals, a bunch of massive epic moments, and a story that takes you on one hell of a journey. Dune 2 is clocking in at a 100% on the Bravo barometer. Yeah, that doesn't happen too often, but this movie genuinely blew me away. And like I said, I literally couldn't think of any legit flaws or criticisms with the movie. I absolutely cannot wait to see part 3. I think everybody needs to go out and see this movie as soon as possible. If you didn't like the first movie, you should still try it. If you haven't seen the first movie, you need to watch the first movie and then go and watch this one. It is pure cinema that's meant to be seen on the big screen. Bars. But what did you guys think of Dune 2 and what did you think of my review? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe for more reviews, videos, and streams coming in the very near future. And as always, I appreciate you guys for watching the video. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.